Your dog is watching you more closely than you think, not the way you watch a television you forgot was on. The way a coworker watches you when you microwave fish in the office break room. They are listening to your breathing, reading your micro expressions, sniffing the air around your wrists. They compare the face you are wearing today. Then they compare it with the face you wore after meeting that other dog. By the time the leash hits the floor, they have already reached a verdict. Most dog owners think their pet loves them unconditionally. The science says yes, mostly, but also they have a ranked opinion of you. That private ranking shifts a little every single day, and sometimes that opinion drops below the dog across the street. So let us examine how that quiet judgment actually works. We begin with the eyes, because seeing is already strange. A dog's eye has 2 kinds of color receptors, while ours has 3. That means dogs see the world roughly the way a person with mild red-green colorblindness does. Yellows and blues pop, while reds and greens blur into brownish mush. So, when you buy that bright red toy, your dog mostly sees a dim brown blob. What dogs see much better than we do is motion. They register movement at almost twice the rate we do. A squirrel at 30 feet, darting sideways, is a slow-motion drama to a dog. That is why they snap at flies you did not even notice. And in low light, they are basically walking around with built-in night vision. The reflective layer behind their retina, the tapetum, bounces light back through the photoreceptors twice. That is why their eyes glow in flash photos. But the most interesting thing about their eyes is not what they see. The real secret is where they choose to look. Dogs trained to look at human faces spend about 40% of their gaze time. Their gaze settles on the left side of your face. Humans do the same, as do nearly all social primates. That is where our emotional muscles speak most clearly. It is also where we reveal what we feel without trying. So your dog is not staring mystically into your soul. They are reading the small confession written across your cheek. That single sentence is going to live in your head for weeks. Then come the ears, 2 small satellite dishes. Dogs hear up to 60,000 hertz, while humans stop near 20,000. To put numbers in perspective, a dog can hear a mouse squeak from across a house. Each canine ear has 18 muscles, while ours has only 6. That is why your dog can rotate one ear toward the fridge. The other ear can remain aimed squarely at the window. They are processing both sound sources at the same time. But the part most people miss, dogs do not just hear sound. More precisely, they are listening for you. In 2018, a research team in Budapest ran a clever experiment. They played dog owners saying real phrases in different tones. The phrases included good boy, well done, and clever. Then they played strangers saying the same words with bright, encouraging tones. The dogs reacted much more strongly to the words they knew, even when said flatly. That response exceeded their reaction to warm words from strangers. Over time, dogs build a complete audio fingerprint. It belongs to every person who genuinely matters to them. They learn your typical pitch, your typical speed, your typical pauses. They learn what your voice does when you are happy, tired, or lying. And yes, they can tell when you are lying. A 2021 study at the University of Vienna tested that trust. Dogs were shown to ignore pointing gestures from people who had previously given them false information. The dogs had quietly revised the human's trust score. Then, in real time, they refused to follow the next direction. That dog was not being stubborn or theatrically difficult. It was making an evidence-based decision about credibility. Now we reach the main event, the nose. For your dog, the nose is the undisputed star. If you want to be humbled, Learn about the canine nose. Humans have about 6 million olfactory receptors. Dogs can carry as many as 300 million. Even the brain tissue devoted to scent is radically different. Proportionally, that scent processing region is roughly 40 times larger than ours. When you enter a room, you smell one thing: room. When your dog walks into a room, they smell everything. They smell soap on your hands and lunch from 3 hours ago. They notice another dog that brushed past 2 hours earlier. They may catch the residue of a hormone shift already gone. They can trace the hormonal aftershock of the argument you had before coming home. They may even detect a weather system moving through another zip code. This is not poetic shorthand for saying dogs smell well. Their noses process layers of information we can barely imagine. And much of that astonishing machinery is trained directly on you. A 2019 study from the University of Bristol tested that sensitivity. Researchers found that dogs can distinguish happy human sweat from fearful sweat. Happy sweat can smell faintly like almonds to a trained nose. Fear sweat carries a sharper, sourer chemical signature. Dogs can detect both at concentrations so low the human nose reads as nothing. In that study, dogs exposed to fearful scent samples became noticeably more cautious. They explored less and sought reassurance from their humans more often. Their bodies changed because another body had quietly broadcast an alarm. They were not reacting to fear manufactured inside themselves. They were smelling the fear your body had quietly released. Then they adjusted their own behavior to match the warning. This is why your dog suddenly gets clingy when you are anxious and will not admit it. That is not psychic ability, however magical it can feel. It is simply an exquisitely sensitive nose doing honest work. Your face, meanwhile, is a newspaper printed every morning, and your dog reads the front page before breakfast. Dogs do not merely glance at faces, they study them. This extends beyond the left side emotional signal we mentioned earlier. They read the whole face, and they do it surprisingly fast. A 2018 study in the journal Learning and Behavior tested this directly. Researchers trained dogs to distinguish photographs of happy and angry human faces. Soon, the dogs could reliably tell those expressions apart. Then the researchers showed the dogs photos of just the upper half of the face. Then they saw only the lower half of each face. Even with half the evidence missing, the dogs still knew. Dogs do not just look at your mouth or your eyebrows. They assemble the whole expression, almost exactly as we do. They know what your neutral face looks like, and your happy face. They also know you're trying not to yell face on sight. And here is the catch: they prefer the happy one. In a 2022 study from the University of Helsinki, dogs consistently chose to approach images of smiling humans over neutral humans. That preference held even when the smiling person was a stranger. The dogs were not simply searching for their favorite person. They were choosing the safer, more positive expression. That finding carries one slightly uncomfortable implication. If you are grumpy at your dog is not just reading the grump. It may also be quietly revising its opinion of you. The score does not fall to 0 or to "I do not love you." It simply slips down by one quiet notch. It becomes, "I am less excited about you than I was this morning." Your dog maintains a flexible mental scoreboard, written in experience. Every interaction, however ordinary, updates the total. So, within that private scoreboard, do dogs actually choose favorites? Yes, and their preferences are usually not subtle. Studies have shown that dogs use 3 main criteria for ranking humans. The first criterion is simple: Who feeds them consistently? The number one predictor is not who loves them most and not who plays with them most. The winner is whoever reliably appears with the bowl. It sounds transactional, but reliability is also a form of care. Number 2, who plays with them in a way they like. And dogs have remarkably specific play preferences. Some prefer chase, others tug, and a few adore gentle wrestling. The human who matches their preferred play style moves up fast. The third criterion is predictability. Who makes the world feel stable? Sudden loud noises, dramatic mood swings, harsh corrections, all of these drop the score. Calm, legible humans tend to rank remarkably high. Notice that loves me most never appears on that list. Dogs certainly experience something very close to affection, but it is more like attachment than the romantic love we project onto them. They like us, bond with us, and miss us when we leave. But the part we forget is that they are also evaluating us. The evaluation runs every day through every interaction. Every raised voice, every skipped walk, every time you came home smelling weird. They're not judging you with the casual cruelty of your in-laws. They judge more like an attentive manager who keeps excellent notes. Quietly, fairly, and with a memory longer than yours. So the next time your dog gives you that unreadable expression, pause. You know the one. The look you insist must be love. Give them and yourself a little interpretive room. It is love, certainly, but love is not the whole report. There is also a small ongoing performance review attached. The good news is that this review can be passed. Stay calm, stay consistent, and keep showing up with the bowl. After all, the dog across the street does not know your snack schedule. Thank you for spending these minutes under canine supervision. Subscribe if your dog has decided you are still worth keeping.